Hey everybody, how's it going? It's Jordan Elsass. You might recognize me from the show Superman and Lois. You, my friends, are watching Completed It with Andy Burrows. It's your one-stop shop for everything pop culture related. Enjoy the show. I know I sure do.
Welcome everybody back to another episode of Completed It. Yes, we are back for another movie review. I am your host, Andy Burrows. Mr. Sasha Alari is not available today. He hasn't seen the movie yet, but I've drafted in someone from the substitutes bench, my good friend, movie goer, an all-round good guy. He's back on the pod, Mr. Jonathan Noakes. Johnny, how are you, sir?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, mate. I'm all right. I'm all right. Me and you are here to review the fun time that I had, and I know you had, watching Danny Dyer and Nick Love's Marching Powder. It hit cinemas this week. I went and seen it this yesterday, actually, as we sit here recording this on a Thursday. I went and seen it yesterday. You saw it the weekend. Nick Love directs. Danny Dyer is the main star as Jack. His wife in the show is called Danny. That had me straight away. For those that you don't get the joke, you can figure it out. But this is kind of a PG show, so they were called Jack and Danny, the main characters in this movie. Jono, it's kind of everyone said this was going to be kind of a Football Factory-ish type follow-up. Danny Dyer described it, I think, as Football Factory meets Love Actually. It was kind of rom-com slash football film slash just a feel-good film. Before we get into a little bit of it, what did you make of the movie, my friend?
I laughed, man. It's a freaking hilarious film. I loved it. Because you go and watch a Danny Dyer film of this caliber, you know what you're getting in for. It's Danny Dyer, football hooliganism, drugs. It's a Danny Dyer film. It's funny. Loved it.
Yeah, I give it a solid 8 out of 10. Like everyone said, I think when you go and watch a Danny Dyer movie, the guy does get a little bit of stick, which I think is unfair. A lot of people, I saw a lot of reports saying a lot of EastEnders fans went and watched this movie thinking they were going to see the Danny Dyer from EastEnders. I'm like, well, they build this as kind
Too
of
soft.
yeah, they build this as kind of a follow-up ish to Football Factory. We get that it wasn't Football Factory 2, but it kind of went on a little bit of the theme from Football Factory, and people were walking out going, "This isn't the Danny Dyer that I've come to see." It's like, fuck off! If you think this is the Danny Dyer from EastEnders, you're sorely mistaken. One thing that I want to say about this film, Jono, and as a guy that's heavily involved in my sport and have been involved in football since I was knee high to a grasshopper, this movie for me is going to relate with a lot of people. You go and watch some movies and you watch a sci-fi, you watch a Marvel and you watch a DC, you know what you're going to go and watch them for. This movie, for all for it was and for the comedy factors that it got, I thought was very relatable. I've been, not all aspects of this movie I've been there, by the way. I wasn't snorting loads of cocaine before I went off to a football match, but
Yeah.
football is a drug to me. I've grown up with football all my life. It's taken up way too much of my time than it should have. It's had rousing my wife when I shouldn't have, when I should have been at football and maybe I should have been at home. So I think, do you think this movie is going to relate to so many men all over the UK with the way they put it forward? So I don't want to give too many spoilers, right? Because we're here to review the movie, but
Yeah.
we all say our reviews are kind of spoiler free. But Danny Dyer plays a character called Jack, who essentially is obsessed with football. I think it's
Yeah.
Grimsby, the team in the film that they attach themselves to. His life revolves around football. It's from the morning, it's wake up, do a line of coke, go to football with his mates, have a punch up, go back to the pub and come home. Repeat for however months the season is on. So many men up and down the UK are going to be able to relate to certain aspects of this film. I thought that's what they done really well. I was sitting there watching it thinking, oh my God, this is, yeah, Saturday mornings I get up, I go to my football, I'm there all day, I help out, even when I was a player, and then I'm in the bar afterwards and you're like, oh, are you coming out for some beers tonight? And you're like, yeah,
Yeah.
go on then. And then you realise, you're like, oh my God, I haven't seen the wife since 8 o'clock this morning. You're like, oh shit, I haven't seen my daughter. But do you think it was a relatable film, Jono?
Oh yeah, definitely. Because if you're married, you got kids, and that's what you should have on your mind all the time, your family. And yet you got your mates badgering you. Look, come on, boys, go and watch the footy, have a bit of a kick up, and have a bit of a snort and a few beers and all out. And you're thinking, wait a minute, I've got my wife at home, wife, football, cake, and they're balancing them. Which one are they going to pick? And they're like, "Fuck it, let's go watch the football."
Yeah, that's the bit that I think so many people are gonna. There was a couple of guys sitting a couple of rows behind me, and I heard one of them say halfway through the movie, went, "My wife says that to me all the time. You go to football again." And I was sitting there thinking, mate, every guy watching this up and down the country, all over the world, wherever they're watching it, is going to relate to this movie. It's like they touched on subjects in this movie without really. They touched them in a funny way because it was peer pressure from your mates to go to football,
Yeah,
peer pressure from your mates to do drugs, peer pressure from your mates not to go and see your missus but come and see them, peer pressure to go and have a fight. But then again, when you flip the movie, John,
yeah,
Callum McNabb plays Kenny Boy in it. Thought he played the
yeah,
character really well. Then you flip it, and then there's the human and the kindness element of which you see in Danny Dyer's character because he has to look out for his brother-in-law, which is called Kenny Boy in this movie. And what I thought the movie did really well was they flipped it 180 and they went, look, why he's still got all this going on and he's fighting when he shouldn't be and he's down the pub doing drugs when he shouldn't be and he's at football when he shouldn't be. When called upon, the Danny Dyer's character Jack was actually a really decent guy, and I think the theme of the movie was, and again I could relate to this. Deep down, we all know that we probably shouldn't all go to every single football game going. We
nah,
shouldn't go down the pub with our mates. We still do it, and then you have a row with a wife, and it swings and roundabouts. I think that's life for a majority of men up the country. But what did you make of that part of the movie, mate? Where Kenny Boy Jack kind of took him under his wing and made sure that he was. I'm not going to give any spoilers away what happens near the end, but I thought they done. I thought Nick Love portrayed. They got that across. His writing was brilliant in the movie to get that portrayed.
yeah. Felt sorry for him, but Danny Dye's character, he had a heart in this.
Mm.
He wanted to balance them both, and yeah, not any spoilers, but yeah, he had a heart in this film. And I kind of felt sorry for them both actually, but kind of felt sorry more for his wife.
Yeah,
She put up so much shit in it.
Stephanie. I can't pronounce her surname. Leonidis. I can't. I probably butchered the fuck out of that. She played Danny Dyer's wife in this was superb. And again, it comes back to relatable. When she met him, he was a lovable rogue. He was the lad around town. Everyone loved him. She loved him. She fell in love with his chirpy banter. But as the years have gone on, and the weeks and the months have gone on, and the football season's come around, and she's at home doing the washing. She's looking after the kids. And again, I'm not sitting here stereotyping every woman across the country, but I reckon loads of women are going to. I've said to my wife, we're going to go and watch this. And I can just see her sitting there now watching this movie going, that's you. That's
Yeah,
you. You've done that. You've done that in the past. And I'm thinking, fucking hell, all right, love. I know I have. But I haven't done all elements of this movie, just saying, spoiler free, but there's a lot of drugs in this movie. Um,
yeah, hell of a lot.
but it's again, I thought she played a great part portraying the woman's side of the story. But ultimately, deep down, she still loved him. And I think that's where it comes into what I said at the start of the show, John. It was Football Factory meets Love Actually. What did you reckon?
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, towards the middle end of the film, I kind of my heart was like, oof, should I be getting this kind of a emotion built up inside? It's like yeah, it was different to the Football Factory. It had a heart of a tone in it, while
Yeah,
still keeping the elements of drugs and going to football and kicking off and
I
everything else.
again, mate. I think the running theme through this movie was so many people are going to relate to this movie. So many, and you don't get many movies like this anymore. I've seen a lot of, I watch. Me and you, we've got the Odeon Limitless Pass for those listening and watching in the UK. Go to the cinema. God, I think I'm going Friday. I think I'm going Saturday. I think I'm taking Black Bag on Friday. I'm seeing something else on Saturday. But you don't get many movies like this anymore. There wasn't too many there wasn't a massive plots or twists, and you really, really had to fucking concentrate. Don't get me wrong, I don't mind them movies, and we'll all watch them. But with this movie, and especially with a Nick Love movie and Danny Dyer being back together, like you said at the start, you kind of know what you're going to get. So as long as you go in
Yeah,
with that mindset, going, I know what I'm going to get from this movie. This is what it's going to be. That's why I give it a solid 8, maybe even a pushing a 9 out of 10. For the whole movie, I just thought I'm really enjoying this. Not a one. Mickey 17, I wanted to walk out after 10 minutes. This one, I
yeah.
thought this is brilliant. What did you make of? There's a little. This is not a spoiler. There's like a little animation bit at the start. I thought that was done really well. What did you? When mate, they had me at that when Jack met Danny and Jack and Danny. I'm like, you've got me. You've had characters called Jack and Danny, and again, for those, this is spoiler free and kid friendly. Maybe ask your parents what that means. But yeah, what did you make of the animation bit at the start?
it was just bizarre. And like, I don't want to say this as a spoiler, but when before they go to a game or meet up, and you get a heading going across the screen saying "cunt o'clock," and I was like,
My kind of
"Oh, that's
movie.
random," but yeah, it's good. It
Yeah.
was good.
What did you make of the bit? Also, you don't get this much in movies. Danny Dyer kind of spoke to the audience. He was like treating us as when he done the bit to camera and he was talking directly to us. I think that's a lost art in movies anymore. You used to get that in a lot of movies, like a third part. We were part of the movie with Danny Dyer, his character Jack, talking directly to us. What did you make of how they? Obviously, we're not going to give it away what he said and what he done, but I like that part of the movie, and I think Nick Love really, obviously, that was part of the directing and writing that he's brought to this movie. I thought was really good.
I think it's kind of like one of the things where like you're talking to yourself or talking in your mind, and he's just like projecting that to the audience.
No one wants to be in our minds.
I know,
No,
especially what we do.
no, that's but what easy, whoa, easy now, easy. But yeah, no, I thought that was really good the way that like, Danny Dyer, his character Jack, portrayed that. Just finishing up, John. Obviously, Danny Dyer gets portrayed. Is he in the same bracket as, say, a Jason Statham, an Arnie? Obviously, we mention all these kind of actors, The Rock, so to speak. Is he kind of typecast for the kind of roles that he's done? I mean, I know he's done comedy over here on Sky. Obviously, really well known for EastEnders now over here. Those not watching in the UK, a huge soap in the United Kingdom is EastEnders. Football Factory still remembered for. Is he kind of typecast in these roles, or is that a good thing or a bad thing? Because I think he should just bloody embrace it. I think he's fucking brilliant at what he does. I love the guy. I'd love him on this fucking show, by the way.
Yeah, I think he should just keep doing what he's doing because Jason Statham got typecast for his roles, what he was doing, and look where he is now.
Mm.
So I think if Danny Dyer keeps pushing what he's doing, I think he should kind of keep away from the EastEnders thing and just
Yeah, I don't know if he's ever
continue.
going to go back to Soapland. Would you like to see him do? I like him in movies.
No, I don't know what he can do next. I mean, I always thought that this was a Football Factory sequel, but it's in the same premise. But I just want to talk about his son in the film, who's actually
Yeah,
played by his real life son, and
tremendous part.
yeah, I mean, he must have
Chip
like,
off the old block.
yeah, like I bet he gets away with loads at home with the language that was coming out of his mouth in this film. He
Yeah,
is
mate.
absolutely,
Do you know
you
what?
know,
You'll relate to this as well, John. As a dad, I'm a dad. The part of the movie where he goes, "Don't tell your mother."
yeah, I
There's
know it
certain
is.
things that happen. I'm like, amount of times I take my daughter to football a lot. I know you go to football a lot with your sons. Amount of times I'm with my daughter at football and something will happen or words will be said, and I'm like, "Do not tell your mother." And she just looks at me and starts giggling. Fine. Again, this movie is life relatable, and I'm getting there are certain people out in the world that do certain substances, and up and
Yeah,
down the land that go to football. This movie, from being a dad, from being a football fan, from being a husband to Danny who plays Jack's wife in it, to being a wife, to being the peer pressure from friends. John, this movie is so relatable. I think that's going to be a running theme when people go and see this.
it's a simple film. It's a simple plot. You know what you're getting with it.
Yeah,
That's all there is to it. But I just don't understand some of the reviews that I've read. It's just like, why
that's
not? You
what. Do
get
you know
yourself
what?
in.
That's
What you
why I
get
love
yourself
just.
in for?
Yeah, I mean, look, I didn't like Mickey 17, but I hosted. I'm sure you've watched the show that I done with Stu
Yeah,
from the Stu World Order. He liked it. Nothing wrong with that. If we all like the same movies and everything, and I always say this to people, especially when you go on X or Twitter or whatever you call it now, and there's people, you can't say that. And I'm like, well, life's just opinions. Movies are made. You don't make a movie going, everyone's going to love this. I'm sure there's people out there that don't like the Shawshank Redemption, that don't. My wife hates sci-fi, can't stand it. I'll sit here watching my Terminators and my Star Wars and all my Marvel movies, and she's just sitting there rolling her eyes, going, "Why are you getting excited over a guy in a red cape flying around thinking he can save the world?" I'm like, it's the kind of movie I like. Again, then you get people like my wife. I don't know what your girlfriend's like. There's relate. This movie here is going to be able to, though, to relate across so many families across the United Kingdom. When a boyfriend and a girlfriend or a husband and a wife go and watch this movie, it's mainly going to be their wife going, "You do this. That's you on a Saturday. You go to football all fucking day, and I don't see it all fucking when you come home drunk at night, and the husband's just going to be sitting there going, "Yeah, that's me, that's me." But Johnny, what? Just finishing up, what rating would you give this movie out of 10, Bo? I give
I
it an
think
8.
I'll give it an 8 out of 10 as well.
Yeah, I give it an 8, maybe pushing towards a 9. I just thought it was brilliant.
Yeah, I don't know what else you can do with it. It's just like
There wasn't part of this movie. There wasn't anything in this movie. I think, oh, that was a bit shit. And this isn't a gripe. The kind of the way it ended, I was thinking, oh, he's just doing what he was doing at the start kind of thing, but it went full circle. And you also, you had other love interests in the movie, which was good. The temptation was there. Again, when certain spouses aren't around and they're at football all the time, again, it just comes back to being so relatable, mate. I'm going to give this movie a solid 8, maybe even pushing towards a 9 out of 10. It was an easy plot to follow. The storyline was really good. The acting was brilliant. The way they synchronized everything up where the audience felt part of the movie at times, which I won't give away too much for those that are going to see it. But I highly, highly recommend Marching Powder to any. I might even go and see it again while it's on at the cinema. I'll definitely be getting it on Blu-ray.
nothing gold as well.
I'm still a Blu-ray collector out there. I was chatting to the guys at the Geek Out podcast. They were like, they still collect. But are you still a Blu-ray man, John? You still get Blu-rays?
Moving on to 4K UHDs now.
Ooh, someone
I'm just
in life.
just waiting now for some decent films to come out.
Yeah, I think I'm off to see Black Bag this Friday, and then what's the one with the guy trapped underwater? Deep sea diver one. It's coming out.
Woody Harrelson.
Yeah, Woody Harrelson one. I'm going to go see that on Saturday. So we're going to be back reviewing them. So, John, you need to go and get your ass to the cinema. I'm sure
mate, don't worry.
So me and you and Sasha can sit down and review them. But just a big thanks to everyone that's been checking out the show. It's really picking up some traction now on YouTube. If you want to check us out, just type in Completed It Pod, all one word, into the YouTube search, click search, and we'll come up. Our last couple of videos have been flying. I think we're up to like 140 views on the Sarah Page one, the cosplayer. She does China. The Kenny's interview played Raphael in the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So I just want to say a big thanks. We've only been going like not even just under 3 months now, and the feedback that we're getting from the shows that we're doing, we've got some really good guests coming up. We're sitting down with Tom Arnold, Hollywood's own Tom Arnold, next Thursday. Jono, I'm looking forward to that one, mate.
That'll be a good one.
That'll be cool to chat to him. We've got some other really great guests lined up. The guy we're dipping in our toes back into pro wrestling again next week. The guy that goes around cosplaying as Taker UK, massive on social media, by the way, and what a guy. I've been chatting to him. He's coming on the show next week as well, so that's going to be dropping. Me and Sasha are going to be back talking all Marvel and DC and reviewing movies. Jono's going to come back on once he's seen Black Bag. We'll get you back on, John, and we'll chat about that. But yeah, if you want to check us out on X, at Completed It Pod on X, on YouTube, all one word, Completed It Pod. Click search, you'll find us there. We're available on audio as well. It's on Spotify, it's on Apple, wherever if you want to listen to the show. I know some people still listen if you're out driving or at work or whatever. You can pop us in your ears and listen. But YouTube's the main place you can find us. But Jono, I'll see you at work tomorrow, mate. I work with this motherfucker. We talk movies all the time, but now we're just doing it live when we've hit record. But thanks everyone for tuning in. We'll be back next week with more Completed It. This is another episode that we've completed. Till next time, everybody, stay safe.